start the second half. Would you welcome to the stage Colleen, everybody.
Hello. Hello. So before I did comedy, I used to be a receptionist. Yeah, and then in my office there was about 30 women, and there's only one bathroom. Yeah, so there's always a line for the ladies. And I remember this one time I was waiting in line when this pregnant woman kind of waddles up, and I'm about to go in when the woman behind me was like, "Hey, aren't you gonna let the pregnant woman go first?" I was like, "No." She's like, "But she's pregnant." "Well, then she can use this time to practice keeping her legs together, then can't she?" I don't inconvenience others with my mistakes. Which, come to find out, is a great way to go talk to HR. That was fun. And now, I travel around a lot, and I've noticed these bumper stickers that say, "Keep Austin weird," or "Keep Portland weird." And I live in San Francisco, and you never see a bumper sticker that says, "Keep San Francisco weird." Because we don't need that reminder. The city comes with a bunch of weirdos, which is awesome, keeps us sane. Because I remember I was in San Francisco with my friend, and we were smoking, and this man comes up to us, and he's got an eye patch and a cat draped around his neck. And he looks at my friend and he goes, "You're too pretty to smoke." And then he looks at me and goes, "Do you have a quarter?" Not anymore. So I am single, and I miss certain things about being in a relationship. Like, I miss cuddling. I really like that, holding each other. I'm romantic, I think it's cute. What I don't like is when they snore. Yeah, and apparently every guy I've ever slept with is a snorer. And if you've ever slept with a snorer, you know that they sleep way deeper than anyone else. And so to wake them up, you have to get a bit aggressive about it. So when you finally do wake them up, they're all pissed. I know, and you're like, "Dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just trying to cut you a new quieter hole." The hurting was just a plus. But I remember this one time I was dating this guy, and we were out at dinner, and I was kind of complaining about how he's not so great at texting me back. And he's like, "What are you gonna do, kill me?" And I was like, "About a quarter cups of eye drops in your water will do it." And he was like, "You live in the middle of San Francisco, what do you do with a body?" I was like, "Well, if I kill you in my apartment, all I have to do is drag you into the bathtub. Then I'm just going to need 3 bottles of bleach, a really big knife, and a big hammer. Because once I have you in the bathtub, what you do is you make incisions in all the major arteries, then perform CPR in the body, because even though you're dead, the heart still works as a pump and move all the blood. Then you go take the bleach, pour the bleach down the drain, kill the DNA evidence, they smell that might be lingering around. After that, go take that big hammer, start working away at the joints, kind of tenderizing it. Now, this is going to take a while, so you'll be in for the night. When you're done tenderizing the joints, don't forget the face, because you don't want the teeth in there either. Now after that, go ahead and take that big knife, start sawing away those tenderized joints. It should go through pretty easy, but if it does get stuck, you take your hammer and kind of push it through. Now, when you're done, you're going to want between 6 and 8 different pieces, depending how industrious you're feeling. And then you can go bury them in different parts of the city or throw them over the Golden Gate Bridge. If there's a pig farm nearby, you can give it to them, because they'll go through bone like a hot knife through butter. And then I look up, and he is creeped out. Apparently that's not good conversation material for date 3. But he did text back a lot faster. So I win. And now, weirdly enough, I don't get hit on a lot after my shows. I don't know why. But when I do, it tends to scare the hell out of me. I had some guy come up to me last week, he was like, "Hey, I really like this show, it was really funny. Do you watch Dexter?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, it's this great show about a serial killer who kills other bad people. I have all the seasons, you should come over and watch it sometime. Because you missed a couple of steps." I know, I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to die. And no one will ever find that body. So I'm a big fan of horror movies, obviously. And I've seen so many of them, I always figured if I ever found myself in that horror movie situation, I would be totally fine. You know, which is totally plausible. You're walking home late one night and all of a sudden you found yourself in this deserted cemetery with mist shrouding the ground. There's a full moon and wolves are howling in the background. You look down, you have bigger boobs and intact virginity. And suddenly you know what to do. You can save the world yourself, everything's going to be great. But recently I found out that no, that is not the case. I'm that snarky friend that dies the most painful of all the deaths. Because I was late at night and I was walking through the tenderloin section of San Francisco, which if you're not familiar with San Francisco, that is not one of our best areas. Technically, it's our worst area. And I was walking by and there was this homeless man over there, which is normal, there's lots of homeless people there. What wasn't normal is that he was holding a pickaxe and he was digging away at the ground in what I can only assume was mining for crack. And now I didn't want to be rude and cross to the other side of the street, so I just continue on my way. When he looks up at me, growls, grabs the pickaxe, and then lunges towards me and starts digging away at a new vein at my feet. And my whole response to this was, I don't have any change. Which is not the right response at all. I mean, first off, he didn't ask me for any change. He's employed. He's a crack miner. Probably not as lucrative as the crack whore, but you know, I shouldn't judge. And secondly, as a horror fan, the fact that I didn't know what to do with a pickaxe coming at me, which is a pretty common murder weapon, is just heartbreaking. I just realized that I don't have a fight or flight response. I just go straight to stupid. So recently my mom took me on a hot air balloon ride. Yeah, most boring hour of my life. I mean, it started out nicely enough as we gently floated above the gorgeous vistas of Tracy, California. Tracked homes as far as the eye can see. And one man, so overcome by the beauty of barking dogs and foreclosed homes, decides that this is the place where he's going to propose to his girlfriend. Yeah. Surrounded by 9 strangers who can't get away. And now, the thing about a hot air balloon ride, you gotta keep the balloon in the air, you gotta keep the flames going periodically, which are incredibly loud. And he's memorized his whole speech. He gets down on one knee. He's like, baby, ever since I first... And he tries to keep going. He's like, I've always loved you and always... This goes on for 10 minutes. Until finally he was like, will you marry me? And I was like, jump. But sadly, she chose a slower, more painful death. More power to her. So, actually, I'm broke, so I live in this tiny little studio apartment, and I have this friend that likes to pop by at random hours. Like Sunday, she wakes my ass to the butt crack of dawn. It was like 2 p.m. Anyways, I go to the door and I let her in, and then look back at my bed and I realize, oh crap, I left my vibrator out. Which, not a big deal. Everyone masturbates, good times. It was lying next to my vibrator that gave me pause. Because right next to my vibrator was a copy of the Diary of Anne Frank. I know, in my head I'm like, no! Those two do not go together. I mean, one is kind of sad and depressing, and the other one's just like Holocaust reading. But then I was like, well, maybe I can hide one real quick. Which one should I hide? It's like, Anne Frank. Well, because you know she'll stay quiet.